In this video, I'm going to discuss the difference between AI and automation and the best use cases for your business and why you actually might not need AI at all for some of the tasks you're looking to deliver. As with everything on the channel, this is all about the value and getting ROI from your AI and automation programs. So, first of all, I just want to say that I don't have anything against AI, but I think there are a lot of people at the moment pushing AI onto organizations and that you have to have AI to be successful. Now, there are obviously limitations with AI, but there's also some downsides with AI from what I've seen. AI agents are extremely complex. And when you're giving them complex tasks, it can be quite difficult for you to get a result from that AI. And we see this when you look at the context window. So if you pump any AI model with lots of data, it's going to really struggle to actually give you the correct answer. So the more data you give an AI agent, the worse the outcome is going to be. So even though within automation you can use AI, I think what automation does is it allows you to kind of chunk up those tasks. So some of those really, really big pieces, where you're trying to analyze and process lots of data, what you should really be doing is actually you should be chunking that up into smaller, more manageable tasks for the AI to deliver. So there is there is a difference between the two. So let's kind of get into what that looks like. So let's start with automation and what that looks like for your business. Oh, that's a very, very large pen right there. So let's start with automation. So in theory, all automation is it's logic. It does one thing and then it will do another thing and another thing and another thing, and then you will get your outcome. Now within that workflow, you'll be able to use AI within that workflow. But typically, if you just want pure logic based automation and you want the same result every single time, that is where you can use automation. So I'll give you a really, really simple example of this. And the best way to kind of look at this. So with both automation and AI, what we want to do is we always want to start with the beginning. Okay. Obviously, this is our trigger. And then what we want to do is look at the end. Okay. And this is our result. So what we have is the beginning here. And I'm just going to put a B in for beginning and then E or R for result. Now, typically, what you should always be focusing on is going, well, actually, what is the result? Okay, what is the result that we're looking to get? Whether that be save time, generate more revenue, save costs. There's lots of different categories that I've gone over in other videos on the channel. But you should always be looking at the result and what that looks like. Because ultimately, in both automation and AI, what we actually see is that there are lots of different paths to get you to your result. And it's a bit convoluted, this middle bit, and we can have loads of different pathways to get there. And really, whenever you're thinking about AI and automation, this middle bit really is not irrelevant. It is really important because of your technology stack and your business goals and the way your business is set up and your processes and things. But actually, there are so many different pieces of technology within this part that really a lot of organizations can adapt to that. So you can change technologies. There are different processes for different businesses. So really, this middle bit isn't so important. It's really this bit that we want to focus on. So when we think about the result, again, I've spoken about this a lot on the channel. We just want to have a very, very clear objective of what we're looking to do. And let's say for the case of this video, we want that to be let's say time saved on data entry. Okay, so we're going to pretend that we want an automation that automatically uploads inbound opportunities, so inbound leads into a CRM system, and that's all it does. Now, that is that will save time for your sales team doing data entry, uploading information and details and all those kind of things. So this is the end goal, right? We just want time saved on data entry. And then, of course, like I've said in other videos, we can work out exactly what that is from a monetary perspective as well with some of the formulas we look at. So what we have here is, let's say, our beginning. So this is our kind of, I'm just going to come in here slightly. So we have our beginning, and this might be the beginning of this automation is going to be a webhook or an API. It's probably likely going to be a webhook because it's listening for a trigger. So let's say the webhook is actually listening for in your email campaign software. So you might be running things, any decent email campaign software like Instantly, .ai. They're going to have you're going to have the ability to have a webhook to listen to things that are incoming. So what we can then do is we can then go, well, we've got our webhook here. So let's just say this is our webhook. And then the logic is that that's going to come in. We are going to listen to that, and that's going to have all the data of that webhook. So it's going to have the email, it's going to have the name, the context of that email, and there's going to be lots of other data points in the back end. What we're actually going to do is we're going to then run that webhook through a code node that might extract all of the relevant information. So it says, okay, cool. We only really want the email of this person and the name of that person. Okay, cool, brilliant. So we can go, let's just do an extract node, typically going to be in JavaScript. And then what we have is we then have our, we probably would then upload that to our CRM system. Okay, so we can then, let's say we're using Airtable, and then we can literally upload that contact to our CRM system. And then what we might do is we then might have an email node, a Gmail node, or Outlook, and this is going to email our sales rep or whoever it might be that we've had an email come in, and then you're going to get an email just to say, hey, you've had a new contact has been uploaded to the CRM system. Now this is very, very basic. Okay, this is super basic automation with no AI. It's just logic. So all it is logic that says we have an email come in, we extract the relevant data, we upload that data to a CRM, and then we tell someone about it. Now, that might not seem like it might not save you that much time or effort within doing that, but actually, if you scale that right up to a very large sales org, say you've got 20 salespeople and you're getting quite good inbound leads, the time saved consistently doing that is going to grow, right? It's going to be exponential. Now, where the within this, again, this is the middle part, and kind of what I mentioned up here earlier, is we have lots of different ways to get from this webhook to getting you an email, and there's lots of different technology in there, lots of different CRM systems, there's different email providers that you're using, or if you're not using an email provider, you can have a webhook that's connected directly to your own email. But this is logic, and this won't change. So automation is very much logic based. So this is very much, that's terrible writing, but you get the point. So it's very much logic based, and this can go on and on and on, and we can do this with lots of other things. Now, within this, you can actually implement AI. So we can have a logic based workflow here, and then we might just say, well, actually, we want to go one more, right? And we want to go one extra. So what you might then have is your webhook. So that's the beginning. Let's come in here. So this is your beginning. This is your webhook again. Then we might have our extract code node, which is still normal. Then what we might have is an AI node. So an AI, message and model node. Okay, that's so we might have a let's just say OpenAI. Okay, so OpenAI is our AI within this workflow. And what OpenAI can then do is it can then look at it can read the email, and it can then score that on like buying intent, for example. So OpenAI can go, well, actually, we've seen this email come in, and actually this is someone who's really interested because they've given some good buying signals, and they've said, hey, yeah, I'd really love to book a call with you. Great, that's a really high buying signal that you're looking for. And OpenAI can then read that, and then what OpenAI can then do is then we can still feed that into our CRM system, and then what we can then also do is the agent or the message, the model you've got here, the LLM, can then code up that CRM system for you. And you might just have 3 different codes, okay, for buying signal, which is high, medium, and low, off the top of my head. And so then that can then upload that person to your CRM system, and then it can do an email. So it can Gmail your rep, and it can say, hey, we've got someone come into the we've had an inbound lead come in with really high intent. So this is just, again, really, really super basic. There's, people are going to say to me, this isn't how you run an AI agent, and I'm going to come on to that in a bit. So this, again, you can use AI within the workflow to help you extract data. And, we can even have in here, just whilst I think about it. So we might even just have, you could even have another model in here that then sends, so this is another AI model, and this AI model then even replies to the email, okay, and then it can email you and say I've replied or whatever. Again, very, very basic. So automation is always logic based, and I think automation as well is a lot safer because, again, AI really struggles with context at the moment. And so why I really like automation is because it will give you the same result over and over again, and then you can look at the data and measure that data. So if you run an automation and you run that over 6 months, you can then go back over that 6-month period and look at the data and say, oh, actually we saved this amount of time, or we generated this much revenue. And there is a direct line into that automation to say you got value from it and there is return on investment from it. So where does then AI sit within this, and where people are building AI agents at the moment? Are AI agents are just more complicated, they're more complex, and there is more that can go wrong. That's not to say that all AI agents will go wrong. I think it just, there's a business case and a use case for it, and you have to be sure that building an AI agent is right for you and your business. So let me come down here. So the next thing we want to look at is AI agents. Okay, cool. So an AI agent is pretty much taking our workflow and doing everything for us. So you will see we still have a webhook. So we still have like a trigger. So this is the beginning, and we still have an end, right? And we have the result, and that's the result over here. Okay. But in the middle is just one big AI agent like this that does it all for you. So this is our webhook that comes in, and then all an AI agent is doing is going, well, actually, I have access to all of these different tools that you use. So we'll have the AI agent that we build will be based on a large language model of your choice. Then we give that AI agent access to our CRM. We give it access to our calendar. We give it access to I don't know, some JavaScript code that tells it exactly what to do within each different scenario. So if it's a buying intent is high, medium, or low, you'll have a JavaScript code that can tell it what to do for each of those buying intents, and then we might have access to our Gmail as well. So we've got our LLM, we've got our CRM, we've got our calendar, we've got our code, we've got our JS code, and then we've got our Gmail. Okay. And so all the AI agent here is doing is effectively doing everything for you within that workflow. So it starts to populate that for you, and you'll see this everywhere at the moment on YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever. And AI agents are a big rave at the moment, building these AI agents. As we you can go further with this, and AI agents can call other AI agents, and so you can have agents and workflows within other workflows, right? And you can build them out, right? The problem again with this that I have is that there's more to go wrong. Okay, there is more that can go wrong. Context starts to, the more text and content that you're giving the agent, there is more chance that it's going to go a bit, it's going to go out of its guardrails, and it's going to not give you the result you want. Now, unless you are employing a full-time person to manage this, so that, especially in a bigger organization where you can't afford things to go wrong, and building an AI agent isn't always the way forward in my experience. Yes, you'll still get the result in most cases, but because it's not based on logic, you're relying a lot on the AI agent to fill the gaps for you. And so if the prompt is slightly off, or again you're feeding it too much context, it's just not going to give you the result you want. I think there is a real sweet spot, and I think most businesses, you want to work on either a logic-based workflow that it will do the same thing for you over and over again. It's cheaper to run, it's quicker to build, and it's easier to measure that ROI. Or you do want to, where this is different and where you have an AI model within the workflow, this model is only helping you with the data. So this model in this workflow isn't necessarily doing it for you. All it's doing is saying, you're giving it a prompt that says something like, you might have your code node, so you can code an LLM with some JavaScript, and you can say, please categorize this email. Here are your intent signals and triggers, and then all the LLM is then doing is saying, okay, this logic says that this email falls within this category, and so on and so forth. So look, that's kind of the big difference for me. I would always encourage any business to really think about what you want, and just think about, do you want to pay someone to manage this AI agent? That's what someone would pay me to do. I would manage it on a monthly basis, which is expensive because, again, if things go wrong, you have to make sure that you're debugging it, or if things aren't right, and even simple, a lot of the time, even simple workflows and automations, they can be buggy, right? And they're not always going to give you the result the client wants, even though you've prompted like crazy, you've put your guardrails in place, it still can go a little bit off. So look, that's the difference. I'd love to kind of know your thoughts on the difference between kind of logic-based automation and AI agents, and actually what's best for your business. For me, I would always look at building a logic-based automation first, rather than going down the AI agent route, because, like I say, logic-based is cheaper, it's quicker to build, you're going to get the same result consistently over and over and over again. And in some cases, actually, we've worked with clients in the past where actually the automation logic is enough, and they don't need the AI agent, because they say, well, actually that logic has really, really helped us. And actually, even just the sales rep getting those emails, for instance, saying that a new lead has come in, has just meant that they can respond a lot quicker. And we all know that in sales, and there is a saying that time kills deals, right? And so you want to make sure that you are getting to that sale as quickly as possible, and you can measure that ROI quite quickly. So and the other thing on that is that AI agents, how do you, and I've spoken about this in other videos, is like, how do you attribute your value or your ROI to this specific process, and what part of the process are you measuring? With a logic-based workflow, you can attribute it to saying, this is saving us X amount of time. With an AI agent, because you've got all of these different tools here, so we have all of these different tool sets within it, our LLM, the CRM, the calendar, and the JS code, and whatever else. Well, which part of this is the most important? Actually, how are you measuring? And yes, if the AI agent still gets your outcome and it's great, and you can measure that result, then amazing. But I like to be a little bit more detailed with that and go, well, actually, what part of that workflow was it? Was it all that it actually was? Was that you were just replying quicker to an inbound prospect and booking a call quicker? Well, if that's the case, you don't need an AI agent to do that. You can do that with a workflow logic with some AI built in. So again, there's different things that we can look at. So look, I really hope this helps. Like I say, the difference between automation and AI agents is a big thing at the moment. I think for me personally, there's a lot more that can go wrong with an AI agent than an automation and logic-based workflow. That's not to say that AI agents aren't valuable, and they can be really, really valuable if they're built right and they're maintained and they work with your infrastructure and your technology and all of those things. I think there's absolutely value. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Would love to know. What do you think? Are you automation or are you AI agent? Yeah, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.